What's up YouTube, COD4Man221 here, and welcome back to another Viewers 2 online replay. This is one of the shorter replays I got. I really haven't had a ton of time to record, but I thought this was still, even though it's a little short, there's still some important points to talk about. We're on Rails and Metal. Nick and me have basically played this so many times, this map. We're basically, we really know what we're doing. We don't really have to communicate too much. But basically we were, so let's talk about the battle plan. So I'm blue and Nick is yellow, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to capture along this side here. I'm going to fight for this victory point and hold the fuel, while Nick is going to push down and harass their fuel. And if he just bogs down the pink player on their fuel down there, that's a win for us. If he makes it hard for them to even hold that fuel, if we're able to control both fuels to basically be able to win, the Wehrmacht in the OKW will be starved of any kind of fuel they could use. Now, for me, it's important that I manage to hold our fuel, but also that I am able to kind of push in a little bit towards the munitions and the victory point there. I don't want to just give him a free victory point. So you can see Nick is aggressively pushing up here into the house. And this is way before any basic Wehrmacht forces come into play. He did have to build the infantry company. And we're going up against Kruppstil and Merc Border 5. Border? Okay. Anyway, I'm pushing up. I'm going to keep my rear echelon in cover. So in case we see any units around this area here, we will be able to open fire in on them. I'm going to go with a very heavy rifleman contingent in this battle. I want to be using my rifleman defense. I want to be using rangers. Anyway, so you can see Nick is engaging here. By getting his units right next to here, one window on this side, it's going to really hurt Nick's unit there because they're shooting right into the house. Anyway, I've started to engage these units here. I'm going to have to fall back. I do not like this engagement. These guys will tear up my unit. So I'm going to put them back behind cover. I'm going to try to lure them out onto open ground here. And now that I have a lot of forces here, I'm going to start doing flanking fire. So they're going to be in the middle of the crossfire. On all three minutes, I'm going to immediately focus fire on this unit right here. It is the most dangerous. That's what you want to do. Focus on the most dangerous unit here, and they're being shot in the back. So I think overall this is a pretty good trade. I wiped out half a squad and lost 3 rear echelon troops, and there's more of these guys here. Now, you're going to see me charge here. Let's talk about this really quickly for a second. So the Volksgrenadiers, right? These guys have bolt action Kar 98s. The American Riflemen have the M1 Grands. We're going to be better at close range because we have semi-automatic rifles. They do not. So watch this. So I'm going to push in from both sides here. Nice flanking move. And look at this. We're going to absolutely destroy these guys. He's focus firing on this unit. I'm focus firing on the other unit here. But we're killing them. We're dropping them more than they're dropping us. So overall, I think it's a good trade. I almost lost this squad here. So right now, I've traded some blows with my opponent, but I've won this engagement here. I managed to secure our fuel. So I'm going to immediately start reinforce. Let's go down to Nick over here. He is getting a maximum position. He has forced these guys back. So he's even built very early to build a mechanized battle group headquarters. And by the way, we have a bunch of changes coming to COH 2 in December. I've read through them, and they don't look that good. Let me know what your opinion is in the comment section down below. They're changing so many things, trying to balance it. It just seems like whatever we have right now seems good enough to me. They're always balancing. They always mess something up, and they have to try to fix it. Anyway, so what's awesome is the rifleman can actually build these fighting positions. Now, early on, getting a fighting position right here in front of the fuel is going to be great because it's going to not only suppress the OKW units, it's going to be hard for them to actually kill this thing. It'll be hard for them to destroy it because they need Panzerschrecks, or they'll need the combat package for their Volksgrens, which is also going away, I believe. I don't think I think that was one of the changes. They won't have this, and they won't have the incendiary grenade. As much as I complain about the incendiary grenade, I've started using them, and like I can understand why the OKW needs that. Anyway, I have a ton of units here. So this will just finish in time. I have multiple rifleman squads moving in, which are just downright better. See, I have a wide arc here. I'll be able to basically kill anything that comes here. And then if they try to flank around, I'll do my rifleman here. So he's going to push on forward here. Meanwhile, you can see Nick has secured the south down here with some machine guns. Anyway, now back to the attack here. So they're going to be suppressed. They're going to try to flank around, possibly, which is maybe a smart idea. However, I'm also, while they're being pinned, I'm going to put down some sandbags here and get behind them. just make it really hard for them. And then I also have these guys right here. So we're all behind heavy cover here at this point. We have a very defensible position here, and there's no way they're going to be even able to take this position here. Now these guys unfortunately went too far forward, and then we also, I'm kind of messing around. My opponent decided to, Nick's opponent decided to try to fight me over here, so I'm kind of fighting two guys at once. Anyway, these guys moved up too far. That's unfortunate, but I'm going to have to pull them back there. Now these guys are very hurt, so that's the only good thing for me at this point. But I keep my men in heavy cover. They're in light cover here because they're behind the barbed wire fence here. And then Nick's going to transfer some units, hopefully, to come help me out here. But so far, you know, I may be having a fallback here, but we are inflicting a lot of casualties on our opponents. You can see I already have 15 kills. We're taking some casualties, though. And Nick has a flamethrower here. That's not going to be good for his units that are on low health. They're going to launch a rifle grenade here. So it looks like there's two guys right here. I am going to be forced to fall back a little bit. I'm going to grab an ambulance as soon as I can. I'm an also lieutenant maybe to get some of the machine guns, 50 cals if I can. So those guys are forced to fall back here. We're controlling both fuels right now. We're getting 40 fuel. Let's go to their max player. He is absolutely starved. 16 fuel. Okay, that's not that bad actually, but still. And then 12 fuel for the OKW player. Oh, they're actually changing the OKW. They're going to make it so they don't have any, whatever red Safaris are going to change around all their battle group stuff around, and they're also going to make it so that the OKW don't have issues with the fuel and the munitions, which is kind of dumb. So I'm going to build another one of these guys right here, put another machine gun, just make this a very defensible position. And these are they're just hanging out here. They're supposed to capture this point, which they did. Nowhere near the rear echelons too much. So my opponent, of course, is going to go for the infantry support weapon, which is, of course, my least favorite thing in this game. Yeah, that really, like, I hate this. I hate this unit so much. It's just annoying because it fires pretty fast and it suppresses units. So I do have my lieutenant out here. I'm going to try to get my unit away from this area here. I figure he'll probably destroy us, but if he tries to flank around in this... And I do have the ambulance in position here. I'm going to start healing up units now. Remember, you can't move your ambulance when it's healing and reinforcing, so that's something new. You used to be able to heal on your own. Now at this point, let's go into the fog of war. I hear some kind of a vehicle, so I decided to push up here. I see he's building his truck here. I'm going to rush everything I have against this truck. He has nothing to defend. I'm even sending, you know, whatever I can. And I have given my guys grenades. So he has... he's forced to shift all his position. I'm going to throw a grenade here. It's going to do a decent amount of damage. We're going to start pouring in fire. Whatever we can do to kill this headquarters, I will do. You do have to retreat my units here as long as they don't get suppressed. You can see the infantry support guns are firing off. I'm just making sure I don't lose any units here. I got to be careful. This guy's got to fall back. But we're just pouring a lot of fire, and look at that. So that was critical right there. The fact he just lost his headquarters that he was building way too far up, way too aggressively right here, just backfired because he did not have the right units. He had the support unit of the machine gun. He also had the 200 support guns, but he did not have enough of the Storm Pioneers or Volks Grenadiers to counter me. Now, I had some more coming up, but it still is an excuse for not being able to protect your headquarters like that. I really think I caught my opponent off guard there. And unfortunately, I'm forced to fall back to my units, but I still have a lieutenant up here. Keep that in mind, and I also have some more riflemen. So I have about 5 rifleman squads. Well, 4 rifleman squads and a lieutenant squad, and he is getting pinned here, so he's just going to run into a bunch of machine guns at this point. So I do have my units here. I'm trying to figure out how I can best utilize them. I'm going to flank around here, and I do have rangers that can come out. Anyway, once again, point blank, up close, my guys will decimate these guys. They'll just flat out win. And they're also being suppressed. So he doesn't see this, but I'm going to start throwing grenades. He's going to go after right after some support guns because, like I said, I hate these things. So that one just got wiped out. So as units that were committed to the assault are now being pinned. And I don't think he saw us because he started trying to move back. And my guys are actually being kind of slow to kill this thing, unfortunately. So I'm going to have to move up. So my opponent's basically lost his infantry support guns. Can't take my positions out here. And I'm just winning. Now he gets falchion makers here, which is not good for me to get out of here. trying to wipe out that unit, but unfortunately, I cannot get him. So their grenade got out of there. So you can see on Nick's side, the same thing. They have artillery. They have a mortar half track, but they can keep reinforcing over here. So look at all my units. I have 4 squads right here, kind of a little bit of a blob. I'm gonna bring them up to the ambulance. I figure I need some rangers out now, so I'm giving them the upgrades here. So my opponent, who had no fuel to begin with, just lost his fuel. So he's got 37 fuel. He can't get another fuel truck. He can go in 36 seconds, but he can't build it for a couple more minutes now. And meanwhile, we're floating in armor. I'm unlocking the captain right now, and I can immediately make a Sherman. That was the plan. So I'm healing up everyone. Going to reinforce. I'm going to try to push on in here, and we're going to basically whatever temporary gains my opponent thinks he's made, I'm going to counter them. But Nick is very vulnerable here. No AT to speak of at all, and there is. They have the scout car, and the mortar's being brought a little too far up here. And what sucks is that Nick cannot really counter this with his machine gun, who's out of position here, and he's gonna have to fall back. He should fall back at this moment because yeah, he's gonna lose his squad there. So our opponents are finally making a little bit of headway down here. Meanwhile, I have a little bit of a blob here. Nick's yelling at me he needs some help. Well, commanding. Nick is communicating and would like some help, so I'm going to send 4 infantry squads down here to help smash my opponent here. So you can see the idea of the Rangers here. He's going to try to take this field, I'm sure. It's too good for him, I think. He's tempted. So try not to blob up. Anyway, I see that he's going to engage here. We will win this for point blank with these guys. I think we're a higher quality unit. Grenades going down right in the bush here. And that wiped out that squad. Now, unfortunately, I'm going to have to fall back because we do have the machine gun right there. And those guys. But I do have my major. I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to position him at this point. Anyway, I have a little bit of a blob here. I know. I don't like to blob up. But I'm going to try to split up my forces. 2 here and 2 here if I can. But they're taking our fuel, which is not good. And they're taking this fuel down here. So there's a major... It's a major thing. I decided that Nick is okay on his own. He's an AT gun out here. He's the quad half track and he's a T70. So he told me he was okay. I'm gonna once again flank around my opponent and just wipe him out. Yeah, these poor infantry support guns. Yeah, they're just gonna be shot to pieces. This is a blob. This is the most you'll see me blob. So I'm gonna try to split up my forces too. I don't like that I'm blobbed here because I preach against that and I don't feel like I'm being a hypocrite. So I'm gonna try not to do that. And then there's more units popping out here. I get he turned the machine gun, but that's not going to stop all my riflemen, especially when we're better quality. So here you're going to start to see me split up my blob. And then we see Fallschirmjägers, and this is not looking good for this rifleman squad. I got to get them out of here quickly. I'm going to throw a grenade. And look at that. They're bunched up there. They're throwing a grenade over here. I tried to dodge it, but yeah, he's very injured here. I'm going to start targeting the Fallschirmjägers. And these guys are pinned, but I'm going to flank around here. They can't cover this whole area. Nick is pushing in over here with the angle right after the opponent here. And that is when they decide to surrender. So it really did it for our opponents here. Is if you look at the map, they really didn't take back the fuel to this last minute here. And then I basically overwhelmed my opponent here. He was about to get outflanked with his machine gun there. And I had a kind of steady, stable line. I also had a lot of troops here. I had a lot of infantry. And we were about to get tanks. I was about to get a Sherman, so... Yeah, really wasn't too hard of a challenge against their opponents. They had some interesting tactics. They went very heavy on the support guns of for the OKW player. They also went heavy on the mortar. They really you need to control one of these fields, and if you're having trouble, you need to double one of those fields. So if the guy gave up on my field, it should have immediately doubled down on Nick, and I would have helped support Nick, but it still would have been one way to secure some fuel. Anyway, game to our opponents. I enjoyed the quick match here. And a final announcement of this video: I'm going on break tomorrow at 8 a.m. So I'll be home, and I'll just have my bad laptop, the laptop that can only play Europa Universalis 4. So I won't be able to access to Company of Heroes 2. So you can't expect a video probably until Tuesday next week. So about a full week. Sorry about that. We're getting into this part of the semester where like it's the week before finals, and like all the big projects starting to be due and presentations. So like once I get back after finals, it'll be a little bit different story for videos. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy this match. Here's the stats if you want to take a look at them. From 221 signing off, and I'll see you in the next part.